conducts Tibet Awareness Talk series twice a month in order to raise awareness about Tibet and its present situation by inviting researchers, Tibetan scholars and other experts. So today we have here with us Ms. Tenzin Nyima, who is currently working as a project officer under Department of Finance CTA, and her topic for today's presentation is Blue Book, Tibetan Solidarity Alliance for Tibetan Movement. And before she starts up, I would like to briefly introduce to our audience our today's speaker. So, Ms. Tenzin Nyima was born and brought up in Dharamshala. She did her Bachelor in English Literature with French as an optional subject and did her Master's in Human Resource Development. She has been working under CTA for the last 4.5 years and is taking charge of Tibet Core and Global Program. And I would like to request Ms. Tenzin to please come. Thank you.
So how's everybody doing this afternoon?
Wonderful.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this program. So let me just begin. I'm a Tibetan. I was born in India. My mother was born in India. Until during the initial stage of my secondary school, I have never realized that I am a refugee. We Tibetans are refugee. And I remember my grandmother used to tell me stories how she fled from Tibet to India into exile. So how much repression Tibetans faced. And then Chinese started illegally occupying our country. And when I was doing my post-graduation, during my college period of time, so I wanted to work in a big company to earn a fat salary, to be very honest. But then things have changed. After understanding, realizing how critical our situation has become in Tibet, especially in 2008, and followed by a number of self-immolations in Tibet. So this was really disheartening for me. And although during my college period I did not actively participate in Tibetan political issue, I realized Tibetans in Tibet are doing so much for our cause. So much that they even go to the extent of self-immolation, self-sacrificing their body. And I thought we are living in a country where there is freedom of speech, right of education, so we can do so much because they have a lot of hope and expectation for us. So I have changed my mind, and so one of the best way to do something for Tibetan cause and our community was to work at Central Tibetan Administration. So you probably know about it, so which used to be earlier Tibetan government in exile. The main purpose is to politically resolve our issue with China, and secondly is to look after the livelihood of Tibetans living in exile and to improve the livelihood. And CTA and the SAD is Social and Resource Development, is doing so much for Tibetans living in exile in terms of health, education, in terms of resettlement, housing, and this is helping so many Tibetans in exile. So that is the main purpose for me to work at CTA. So I'm sure you know about some of the facts of what actually happened and how the illegal occupation took place and how Tibetans went against the cruelty and violence of Chinese occupation, which eventually led to the flee of His Holiness Dalai Lama in exile. And during the period of time, millions of Tibetans died. More than thousands of monasteries were destroyed. And Chinese, their main language, which is Mandarin, they considered Mandarin as the main language, and they tried to wipe off Tibetan language, which is our language, which is our mother tongue, whether it's in government sector, whether it's in business or education. And Tibet is divided into different regions, especially demarcating with Tibetan Autonomous Region, and nomads have to move. So there's huge migration inside Tibet, and there's a huge threat of losing our identity, because Tibetans are just 6 million.
How many?
6 million.
6 million?
Yes.
That's all.
So if you look in the map, as I told you before, so far 150 Tibetans have self-sacrificed their body, like they've self-immolated, just to let the world know what is actually happening in Tibet, the repression which is taking place in Tibet. So what happens in Tibet is this denial of human rights and the suppression of Tibetan culture and Tibetan language. As I said before, they're trying to make Mandarin as the main language. Tibet's environment is under threat, which you know how important it is, how vital Tibet's environment plays, especially in South Asia. And there's of course a threat to Tibetan language and culture. And China also tries to construct dams, which is also creating a huge problem in terms of environment. So the whole purpose is, why China is doing this? Because of course there is a reason for China to do this. Tibet is extremely important for India, for China, for the rest of the world. So how it is important? First of all, His Holiness, our spiritual leader himself, is an example for the rest of the world. Because he has been promoting human values, compassion, religious harmony all over the world. Which, in a situation right now, there is so much problems happening in the world. However, whichever angle we see. So this helps solve problem through non-violence and passive resistance. So our cause that we've been trying to resolve is all based on truth, peace, non-violence. It's all based on just and truth. So we have been trying to resolve our cause. Since it's a cause, like whether you're talking about Tibet or any issue, if it's about a just cause, I think anybody should support. And then Tibet as a nation, although Tibetans are in Tibetan diaspora, like we are refugee and we scattered everywhere all across the world, we have never failed to realize, we have never failed to make that Tibet is still a nation. There's still a sense of feeling, still a sense of dedication for all Tibetans. And 60 years of resistance to occupation, we have still not failed to consider how Tibetan Buddhism and traditions are important and still alive, both in and outside Tibet. And Tibet's river, of course, is extremely important, is feeding 1.3 billion people in South Asia. So when China is trying to construct a dam, how it is affecting the lives of so many people. And Tibet is extremely rich in mineral resources. Gold, copper. So, because of all these reasons, China has occupied Tibet and still trying to destroy the environmental condition in Tibet, the situation in Tibet. So that's why it is extremely important. And since it is a good cause, like whether it's about politically or whether it's about supporting through different means for education, health, resettlement, etc. So that is why we have supporters from everywhere, all across the world. So we have supporters from Taiwan to USA, we have supporters from Australia to South Africa, from Russia to Nepal. So how they support is through this program, the program called Blue Book. So the other name is also called Tibetan Solidarity Alliance. So this is one of the best ways to support our cause and our community. Why? Because although we have Tibet supporters all over the world, we have a network, but then what United Nations is demanding is proof, facts and figures. So they are always asking, so if they are supporting, you do not just merely say that I care for Tibet, but then you have to have a proof that how do you support. So by applying for this membership, you become a member of Blue Book and you're eventually saying that you care for Tibet and it is a mark and solidarity. So in return what we do is we provide the Blue Book to all the supporters and there is a stamp which is on the book. As a gratitude, we just have this on the book. So example in the picture you can see, so on the left, all these people, they are from Ludhiana, they are Indian supporters. So they think that, they have a strong relationship with Tibetan, like since ages, long time back. And especially Tibetans are doing sweater selling business with Indian lalas. So for them, the relationship is really important and they have to continue the relationship. And also why they support, the reasons they have given is also because of our cause, and they think it is just and truth and they have to support the cause. And on the right you can see there are supporters from Moscow, Russia. So we have different office of Tibet, like to contact, we have different office of Tibet all over the world. The branch is in Central Tibetan Administration, which is the finance department, which takes care of the program. And then we also have different office of Tibet in London, Brussels, Moscow, as you can see here. So everywhere we have. So anyone from any country over here, if you think that you should support Tibet cause, then you can easily contact the office, the concerned office there. And we also have website and email IDs to contact with. So this is the different offices in India. So similarly in India we have different branches. So these are different settlements all across India. So anybody from Shimla, Delhi, Nepal, even Darjeeling. So you can also contact the concerned offices. So there are n number of reasons for different supporters to support our cause. So some of them, for them, His Holiness is really important, and the main reason for them to support is because His Holiness is a messenger of peace for the whole world, and they feel that His Holiness has been, like, since earlier when he took political authority, has been doing so much since he has taken the role of leadership. And also there are also reasons that we have a special relationship with India and Tibet, so that's why they're doing it. And one of the supporter who has been strongly supporting Tibetan cause and who thinks that Blue Book is a program which is not just about supporting, but then eventually, like when we are trying to resolve our issue, there is a huge mechanism in itself which can help solve our Tibet issue. Because when we are getting more number of supporters from everywhere, it naturally becomes a data fact that we have these number of supporters from USA, these number of supporters from Australia. So what happens is, all these data with the more number of supporters, it proves that you deeply care for Tibet and Tibetan cause, and then it helps our movement by making it stronger. So how does it help us? So it clearly is the fact that, you know, it gives a message of peace and non-violence for the whole world. Tibetan Buddhism plays an extremely important role right now. And also, it tries to help make our world better. And Tibet also acts as a buffer zone between India and China. So this is also very important in terms of border dispute. And it helps Central Tibetan Administration and Tibetan people who believe in the principle of truth and just. It helps preserve our culture, which is based on humanity and morality. Because there is a threat of losing our identity in terms of culture, religion, language. And Tibet is extremely rich in reserves like lithium, gold, silver. So by helping the Central Tibetan Administration itself, it is helping our movement at large. So these are the number of different offices where you can contact. So we also have a Facebook page, which is Tibetan Solidarity Alliance page. You can just type in and check the updates, and if anyone is interested in supporting our cause. So what we are planning in future is we are planning to make it online, because now it is a digital world and it is much easier for everybody to just sign up, and like if you're interested in supporting our cause, so it makes it much easier. And also through this program, what we are doing is, like, we are trying to stay in touch with all the supporters everywhere. And we will be updating Tibet news, Tibet issues on a regular basis. And we are also planning to redesign the whole book. So right now, the book is like this. So it just looks like a passport. And you just have some information in front. And then we will have, like, anybody supporting for Tibet cause and becoming a Blue Book member will have their contact information here. And then we will be providing a stamp on this. So this is also important in terms of political matter, in terms of financial matter. So this is how we do. And then we also are planning to do more promotion and awareness about the program, because it is extremely important. I don't know how many of you have heard about the program or known about the program before I explain this. So I think this eventually helps. So if you deeply care about Tibet, then I would request you to check our official website, which is tibet.net, www.tibet.net. And we also have Tibet TV News channel, which is in English language, Tibetan language and Chinese language. And then share Tibetan situation to your friends and relatives. And you can invite Tibetan speakers to your school, to your society, to your community. And you can show solidarity for Tibet by signing up, by becoming a member, which is a proof, and which eventually helps our movement. So every individual voluntarily contributing for a cause by signing up this membership, it will all go to very important causes like students' education, to continue their higher education by providing scholarship, also resettlements in India for Tibetan, elderly people, for orphans, and also healthcare. So all these contributions will go for a very good cause. And there is no limit for this. It is like up to the individual to how much you want to voluntarily support and contribute. And one of the best way is to be a representative and be an ambassador of your country, like if you're from America or England or anywhere. So you can be the face of Tibet supporter, and you can also share this with other friends of yours by creating a network. Because we think that if we have, example, 1 lakh supporters all over the world, with the facts and figures and database that we have, this will be provided, and then this will eventually be a further step to resolve our issue. And then of course you are supporting a cause which is based on truth and just. So if you really care for Tibet, then I'm sure you will do something for Tibet in terms of becoming a membership or sharing this with your other non-Tibetan friends, because Tibet is very important right now at this point of time for China, for India, for the rest of the world. Thank you so much.